Riders of honor. The inexplicable rescue. The highway was nearly empty that night. The moon hung low, casting an eerie glow over the winding roads leading through the forest. Mason Blaze Carter, leader of the Iron Fangs Motorcycle Club, revved his Harley and signaled to his crew. They weren't out for trouble tonight, just a night ride to clear their heads. But fate had other plans. As they approached a remote stretch of highway, they spotted flashing blue and red lights in the distance. A wrecked police cruiser sat in a ditch, its windshield shattered, the front bumper crushed against a tree. Smoke curled from the engine. But what made Blaze's heart pound wasn't the wreck, it was the desperate barking coming from the back of the vehicle. A canine police dog, a black German shepherd, was trapped inside its cage in the back seat, the metal bars bent inward from the crash. The officer was nowhere in sight. Blaze skidded to a stop. His second-in-command, Ryder, pulled up beside him. "Boss, you hear that?" Ryder asked. Blaze nodded. He knew most people wouldn't expect bikers like them to care about a police dog. But he wasn't about to let an innocent creature die in a twisted hunk of metal. "Cut the chatter," Blaze ordered. "Let's get that dog out." The crew jumped into action. Torch, the club's mechanic, grabbed a crowbar from his saddlebag and rushed to the car. He wedged it between the bars, grunting as he pried at the metal. Inside, the dog whined and barked, its eyes full of fear. Then Ryder cursed. "We got trouble." Blaze turned. A pair of black SUVs roared down the road, screeching to a stop behind them. The doors flew open, and 6 armed men in tactical gear stepped out, their rifles gleaming under the moonlight. "Back away from the car," one of the men barked. Blaze narrowed his eyes. These weren't cops. They looked like mercenaries. "What the hell is going on?" Blaze muttered. The dog was frantic now, barking wildly at the men. That's when Blaze noticed something strange, a small tracking device attached to the dog's vest. This wasn't a random accident. This dog was being hunted. One of the mercenaries stepped forward. "Hand over the K9. Now." Blaze clenched his fists. "Not happening." The leader sighed and waved a hand. "Kill them." Gunfire erupted. Blaze dove for cover as bullets whizzed past. His crew fired back, but they were outnumbered. The mercenaries advanced, their boots crunching on gravel. Then, out of nowhere, the K9 broke free. Torch's final effort had been enough. The cage door snapped open, and the dog lunged at the closest mercenary, tearing into his arm with savage fury. The man screamed, stumbling backward, and Blaze saw his chance. He tackled another attacker, slamming his fist into the guy's face. Ryder grabbed a wrench from his bike and swung it like a club, knocking a rifle from another mercenary's hands. The battle raged for what felt like forever, but one by one, the mercenaries fell. The last of them, wounded and beaten, scrambled into their SUVs and sped off into the night. Silence settled over the highway. The only sounds were the panting of the K9 and the distant wail of sirens. Blaze knelt beside the dog. Its fur was matted with dirt and blood, but it wagged its tail, licking his hand as if thanking him. Ryder let out a low whistle. That was insane. What the hell were they after? Torch picked up the discarded tracking device. "Something tells me this dog has secrets." Before they could discuss it further, a police cruiser roared onto the scene. A disheveled officer stumbled out, his face pale. "Zeus," he gasped. The K9 whined and rushed into the officer's arms. The cop looked at Blaze. You saved him?" Blaze just shrugged. "Let's just say we don't like seeing good dogs get hurt." The officer swallowed hard. "You don't understand. Those men, whoever they were, killed my partner. They wrecked my car, left me for dead in the woods, and tried to take Zeus. We were investigating a high-profile cartel case. That dog has evidence they don't want getting out." Blaze exchanged a look with his crew. "Then you better get moving, officer," Blaze said, "because they'll be back." The cop nodded, scooping up Zeus and heading toward his car. Before he left, he turned back. "I owe you, all of you," he said. "If you ever need a favor, the NYPD remembers its friends." With that, he drove off, Zeus sitting proudly in the passenger seat. Blaze watched the taillights fade into the night. Ryder chuckled. "You realize we just made friends with the cops?" Blaze smirked. "Yeah, but more importantly, we pissed off some dangerous people. Something tells me this ain't over." And deep down, he knew this was just the beginning. Blaze and his crew rode in silence, their engines humming like restless beasts beneath them. The night air was thick with tension. They had just saved Zeus, the K9 police dog, from a group of armed mercenaries. But something told Blaze that their troubles were far from over. Ryder pulled up beside him. "Boss, you really think the cartel's gonna let this slide?" Blaze kept his eyes on the road. "No chance in hell." They reached the Iron Fangs Clubhouse, a converted auto shop on the outskirts of town. The neon sign flickered dimly, casting an eerie glow over the parking lot. Blaze signaled the crew to park, and they rolled in, tires crunching over gravel. As soon as they stepped inside, Mia, their club medic, was waiting. "Heard you guys stirred up some serious trouble tonight," she said, arms crossed. Blaze smirked. "We saved a cop's dog, fought off some mercs, and pissed off a cartel. All in a day's work." Mia groaned. "You guys are idiots." Torch dropped the tracking device they had taken from Zeus's vest onto the table. "We need to figure out what this is." Mia picked it up and turned it over in her hands. "Looks military grade. Someone was using this to track that dog." "If I had to guess, the cartel isn't just after the dog. They're after whatever Zeus knows." Blaze nodded. "The officer said Zeus had evidence on the cartel. Something big." Then, a loud thump echoed from outside. The room fell silent. Blaze instinctively reached for the gun tucked into his waistband. He signaled to Ryder and Torch to flank the door. Mia grabbed a shotgun from under the bar. Another thump. Then, a low growl. Blaze threw the door open, and Zeus leaped at him. The K9 had blood on its fur, but it wasn't his own. He whined, circling Blaze anxiously. Then Blaze saw it, a dying man in the parking lot. The officer. Blood pooled beneath him. His badge was barely visible under his torn uniform. He reached out weakly, gasping for breath. Zeus whined and licked his face, but the man barely reacted. Blaze knelt beside him. "Officer, what happened?" The cop coughed, spitting blood. They followed me. I tried to lose them, but they got me." He grabbed Blaze's wrist, his grip weak but desperate. "Take." "Zeus, protect the files." Blaze's heart pounded. "What files?" The officer tried to speak, but his body shuddered, then went still. He was dead. Zeus let out a heart-wrenching howl, nudging the officer's body. Ryder cursed. "Damn it. The cartel's moving fast." Then, the unmistakable roar of approaching motorcycles filled the air. Blaze's stomach tightened. Everyone inside. Now. The Iron Fangs rushed into the clubhouse, slamming the doors shut. Torch grabbed his rifle and peeked through the blinds. 5 bikes, 2 black SUVs. "We've got company." Mia loaded shells into her shotgun. "They're not here for a friendly chat, are they?" Blaze took a deep breath. "Nope." The roar of engines cut off abruptly. A tense silence followed. Then, a voice called out. "Blaze Carter." Blaze stiffened. He knew that voice. Javier Cortez. Cortez was a cartel enforcer, a ruthless killer known for leaving his victims in pieces. If he was here, things were about to get ugly. "Come out, Blaze," Cortez continued. "You've got something that belongs to us." Blaze exchanged looks with his crew. He knew they could fight, but this was a cartel hit squad. They weren't here to negotiate. "Time to make a choice, boss," Ryder muttered. Blaze exhaled slowly. "We fight." He cocked his gun, Zeus by his side, ready for war. The battle was about to begin. The air outside the Iron Fangs clubhouse was thick with tension. Javier Cortez and his men stood in the darkness, their rifles gleaming under the moonlight. Blaze tightened his grip on his pistol, knowing full well that stepping outside meant walking into a death trap. Inside, the Iron Fangs were ready. Ryder crouched by the window, a sawed-off shotgun in hand. Torch had a rifle slung over his shoulder, and Mia stood near the bar, her eyes locked on Zeus, who growled low, sensing the danger. Outside, Cortez chuckled. "Blaze, don't be stupid, amigo. We both know how this ends." Blaze exchanged a glance with Ryder. His second-in-command gave a slight nod. They weren't going down without a fight. Blaze took a deep breath. "We're not handing over the dog, Cortez." Silence. Then, a gunshot rang out. The front windows exploded inward as bullets shredded through the wooden walls. The Iron Fangs dove for cover, returning fire as the cartel soldiers advanced. Torch let out a growl. These bastards came loaded. Blaze ducked behind the bar and fired a shot, catching one of the cartel gunmen in the chest. The man collapsed, but more took his place. They were outnumbered. Zeus suddenly leaped forward, barreling through the door. "Zeus, no!" Mia shouted. The K9 sprinted straight toward the cartel's formation, dodging gunfire. He lunged at a gunman, clamping his jaws around the man's arm and bringing him to the ground. The cartel soldier screamed, trying to shake the dog off, but Zeus was relentless. The chaos gave Blaze an opening. He sprinted out, Ryder and Torch flanking him as they fired relentlessly. One cartel gunman after another fell, but Cortez was still standing. Cortez snarled and pulled out a gold-plated pistol. He aimed at Blaze's head. Bang! Blaze flinched, but the bullet never hit. Instead, Zeus had launched himself at Cortez, sinking his teeth into the enforcer's wrist. The pistol clattered to the ground as Cortez screamed in pain, trying to shake the K9 off. Blaze didn't hesitate. He charged forward, swinging a brutal punch straight into Cortez's face. The enforcer stumbled back, blood pouring from his nose. The remaining cartel gunmen saw their leader fall, and panic set in. They grabbed their wounded, scrambling toward their SUVs. Tires screeched as they sped off into the night, disappearing into the darkness. Silence. The Iron Fangs stood there, breathing heavily, surrounded by broken glass, bullet casings, and bodies. Zeus trotted up to Blaze, panting, his eyes still full of adrenaline. Blaze knelt beside the dog, rubbing his head. "Hell of a fighter, aren't you?" Ryder wiped blood from his lip. "Think that's the last of him?" Blaze shook his head. "No chance. We just embarrassed them. The cartel doesn't take losses lightly." Mia crossed her arms. "Then what the hell do we do now?" Blaze glanced at Zeus, then at the tracking device still sitting on the bar. "This war just started," Blaze muttered. "If the cartel wants Zeus, then it means he's got something big. Something they're willing to kill for." Torch picked up the tracking device, turning it over. "So what's the plan?" Blaze cracked his knuckles. "We take the fight to them.